do some overwintering in there.
I mean, sorry, hey friends, we're here, we've done it. It is October 16th at 6, well, it's technically 6:02, but there are enough of us to get some business done, so we're gonna jump on in and start up today's meeting.
Okay, Carrie Albright,
I am here.
Nadia Kane is absent, Matt Colby.
Here.
Casey Chappelle is not here so far. Adam Whitaker.
Here.
Shannon Guy.
Here.
Adam Martinez.
Here.
Norm Frampton is absent, Mitchell Owens is absent, David Parker.
Here.
Heidi Brown. Here. Okay.
Great. Thanks to the folks who are here. Okay, great. So the first thing on the, well, not first thing, number 3, next thing on the agenda is the approval of the September minutes. Those were included in the packet for today's conversation. I mentioned to Rachel that I had an edit and I wasn't sure in our world of communication what we do with our edits, but it's a pretty easy one. It was just, I was wanting to include, we had a member of the public who just like introduced themselves and I wanted to include that, so that was Steve Stanford, who is the wastewater operator. The note he gave was that he helps utilities with industrial customers, but he was present for it, and I know that we were kind of talking around some of the topics that might involve him, so I wanted to add that little piece in.
I apologize for leaving early last week.
Oh my God, no.
I started in the middle of the day, I noticed I started to feel a little sick, but I didn't really think about it when I was in here and couldn't control my coughing, so.
No, I felt so bad for you.
So
You're totally fine. Feel free to do that. Everyone here is an adult, so if you need to leave for whatever reason, attend to whatever real world things happening, please do. But yeah, sorry to have missed you for part of it, but glad you seem to be feeling better.
I move we approve September minutes as amended.
Second. Nice, all right.
Okay. Matt Colby,
Yes.
sorry. Adam Whitaker.
yes,
Shannon Guy.
Yes.
Adam Martinez.
Yes.
David Parker's.
Abstain, I don't think I've read it yet.
Heidi Brown.
I abstain. I couldn't.
I'll finish the vote now, I'll circle back to that in a second. Carrie Albright.
I would vote yes.
Okay, we had 5 yeses, since we need 7 is the question.
Because we have so many absences.
Yeah, it's majority in the room. I think it passes.
Yeah, I think that passes.
As far as the minutes being posted, I apologize. I did upload them and then they weren't uploaded. They were blank, so Matt told me today they were not on the website, so I apologize if people tried to access them. Heidi, I can show you now actually where they are.
But they were part of the meeting.
So
Yeah.
if you go to the environmental website, for environment, they're in the meeting documents and they're gonna be here. I did fix that once a packet. I think I put the link in the email as well, that will take you to this page.
They're kind of tucked away though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, there was a time when we would just send them by email, like, here are the minutes, give your thoughts or whatever, but at this point we have them in the agenda packet, so they kind of come in a few days before the meeting happens. And if you have edits, it sounds like you can either bring them to the meeting, we do what I just did, or you could send them to Rachel.
Yes.
To
And I can include them in the packet, you can send to me. Okay.
Yeah. Fun with voting. Okay, great. Well, thanks folks for taking a look at those and being on top of when we need to update them. The next item is a public comment. So if there are any members of the public on Zoom, we would be happy to have them share, or anyone in the room would like to introduce themselves, please do.
Shall I go first?
Yeah. Go for it.
Is there a preferred place for me to stand and be or anything?
No,
Yeah, you can sit if you want.
Yeah, you can join us at the table.
Hi, I'm Alex York. I helped install solar on both of these people's houses, so this is being for me to sit. I'm currently a member of the Bloomington Commission on Sustainability, and I am spearheading a project where we are getting a O'Neill Spia School capstone. And I thought that the project might be of interest to this commission as well. Background is Ann Arbor last year through a referendum enabled what they're calling a sustainable energy utility. It is a municipal electric utility that will run in parallel with their Duke Energy equivalent. And yeah, they're envisioning it as a way to have provide 100% clean electricity to more people in the city. And there's a lot of other benefits that come out of that, but they have a goal of net neutral energy consumption by 2030, and they can't get there without doing something over and above the path that their utility is taking. So this is what they've enacted to meet that goal. I'm happy to talk more about that, but that's not the meat of it. The capstone project that I have commissioned for spring semester 2026 is to do a feasibility study into Bloomington adopting an SEU, a sustainable energy utility. What Bloomington does, what Bloomington doing this would look like, that's what the study is for. So yeah, lots of questions there. The Bloomington Commission on Sustainability on Tuesday gave this project their blessing. SPIA has given it their blessing. We're on the book, everything's moving forward, but there is time between now and classes starting to kind of like, you know, massage like research questions that we want the students researching for us. So that would be one place that your commission could be involved, like helping to massage those. I know Matt very well. I'm happy to send him like current draft of what research questions are that he could share with the group here. And like maybe you could look at that, think about what might be missing, what isn't needed. Other places you could be involved that would be useful is just engagement during the project. We're looking for other partners. And at the end, kind of my primary hope is that at the end of this, there's a strong recommendation and data to support the idea that Bloomington doing this, adopting an SEU would be a good thing. And so if at the end your commission were to, you know, entertain either coming to a presentation or hopefully we could get like the student researchers to come present to you. And then you could like maybe sign on to some type of statement with the Commission on Sustainability, like recommending that the city council take this up. You know, just that coming from an additional partner would give it more weight of things. So if you have some other way that you think you could be involved, great. I'm open to options, but yeah, I'm spearheading this project and love engagement for more services.
Remind me your name.
Alex.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
What is the timeline for the start, basically when you have your details locked in and then when the whole thing will be running?
It'll be spring semester 26, so early January to the end of May. When presentations would need to happen could be kind of tricky, like they might not be able to come present at your regular May meeting. That's all things that can get worked out down the road. When details need to be locked in, it's kind of tricky. We had to have a project description submitted this week. It's already submitted, but within that, we can massage the research questions pretty much up until the students like start working, and even once the students start working, it's like there's a little bit of wiggle room, but you know, once we get into the work, these are not experienced consultants. They're being led by some experienced professors who, I'm a SPIA graduate, I went through this master's program, I know the two professors that we're working with, they're great. I have a lot of confidence in them, but the students don't, so like changing the scope of work on the students in the middle of the project, would be mean. So we should avoid doing that, but yeah. The sooner the better on the research questions, because that gives more time to like have everyone rowing in the same direction and have momentum instead of like scurrying around at the last minute and there being a miscommunication, like the project started in the wrong direction, and us having to correct it at the beginning, and so earlier, better, but certainly January would be probably the latest we could be kind of making any major changes.
Can you share with us what you've presented then? I mean, to SPIA?
Submit the
Yeah, we've submitted a proposal.
I could share that document with all of you, yes. I'll just send it to you now. And we have, there's a memo that was made for to kind of introduce all of that. I can share all of those material. Yeah.
Any other from folks before? We get a temp check on these? I mean, it's not like the kind of thing that we like to do. I feel like this would be right up our alley. So 3 things that we could do will potentially have research questions, which we could either send them all to Rachel, and then Rachel sends them all to Matt, and then Matt sends them all to Alex. We could gather them and quickly talk about them at the November meeting, which is already a little bit packed, but we could still do that if you'd like. We could do the conversation at the December meeting, but that would also be, you know, going to a very busy time of year and have to consider that. So that's one thing, it's kind of how we want to pull together research questions, especially if we're able to get some of this material to better kind of dig into what we might think through. And then engaging her during the project, I might ask about that just a little bit more. And then having them present would be, I think, super fun, and we could always have like a little special session that works for their timeline. Or if there are other commissions that they're presenting to, see if we can like reserve the chamber or something like a little bit bigger to try and get,
In an ideal world, we get like council members and things for that
Right, yeah.
presentation, so it might be good to try to get the
Yeah.
chambers and get a coalition all there.
yeah, that'd be great. And then potentially like a letter of recommendation or support items after the fact, if it's a sound for, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, yes, if
Yeah.
it's a sound problem, if this doesn't make sense, Bloomington should not.
We're just like, oh man, turns out, no, no.
I'm imagining that if it's gonna work for Ann Arbor, it probably is gonna work for Bloomington,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
solar potential is better, but, you know, it's not just. Solar, it's also, you know, it's a utility, so, you know, you can do things like energy rebates, you can do on-bill financing to help people afford. You know, energy efficiency and heat pumps and all of these things, so, yeah, there's a lot of potential benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already have the project laid out and a lot of research questions listed, so it's not like we have to build anything from scratch. It's just looking at it and seeing if we have anything we'd like to add or anything
Yes.
we think is redundant or anything.
I today got feedback from somebody who had I think it would be interesting to explore this, and I was like, that was not something on the list, thank you, so, you know. I put together the research questions mostly myself, I do have a background that makes like, my guesses are pretty good guesses on what would be valuable to the city, but I am not the city. I am not, you know, first in all fields, so like, I know I'm gonna be missing things, you know, we'd love to have that additional feedback.
I was just gonna say, when I receive it, I can pass the information on to Rachel so that she can distribute it with the commission, and then I'm not sure how we want to proceed timeline wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds like maybe the best option is to. As soon as we get them, everyone take a look, and if they have any immediate responses to it, just send those to Rachel as well. I'm sorry, Rachel, about the emails. Send them to Rachel, and then she can kind of gather them, and you can decide maybe by the November meeting, if we're able to get those. Assess at that point if it's worth like talking through, if it's like, no, it's just a couple thoughts and no biggie. When, my last question for you is, when you think about the engagement during the project, does that look like anything particular at this point for you?
I don't fully know, I know I'm going to be the point person, which means that I will go. You know, probably the first couple of classes, like, I will be part of, maybe it'll just be me, maybe it'll be me and some other people, like there'll be an initial presentation about kind of what we need, what we're looking for. And then throughout, like, there'll probably be there'll be some check-ins that I will certainly be involved in, and there will be, the students will undoubtedly have questions. I will be the primary person that questions will get relayed to. I'm guessing most of those questions I won't have answers to, and I will need to find the person who has those correct answers. So, you know, if there are other people engaged, those are other people that I can be like, hey, do you know who I should take this question to? If I don't know offhand, but I'm trying to engage with lots of people on the front end too, so that I know where to, you know, distribute my questions. You know, like, I have a contact at utilities who I'm reaching out to, because I'm sure that there will be questions that utilities will be the right place for, because it's a utility.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know entirely what your engagement during would look like, but certainly, you know, if you wanna help make some presentations to students, I'm happy to work with people on that instead of doing it myself.
sounds good. Any other questions for Alex? Sounds good. Sounds like we're totally interested in helping, look at the questions, if there anything that might make sense to add in, or continue support in the middle, and then afterwards give it a listen and potential recommendation.
Okay. Matt will have them before I leave this room.
Fantastic. Alex?
Thank you.
All right. Oh, great. Well, that's fun. Something for, as we go into the winter season, something to think about, spend some time on. Great. Well, then, if there aren't other members in the Zoom, okay, great. We'll go ahead and move to new business, which means annual planning meeting. Remember that? It's here already, which is wild. So in November, our November meeting, which is the third Thursday of the month, is our chance to talk about our goals for the year to come. We used to do them in January, but then we figured out that after doing it in January and then kind of recovering in February, we typically weren't even starting the plan until like March or April. So we're doing it ahead of the year, but it's just a chance for us to kind of do a quick look at what we committed to last year, how we feel about that. We made some plans for sort of a 3 to 5 year like goals that we had, and structured some of the plans for 2025 around those goals. And then make sure that we had working groups that supported those, that people were attached to those working groups to make sure that we were all contributing to making this progress. And then, yeah, take a look back and say, okay, what do we want to do for 2026? And there might be things that we thought we wanted to do that with the changing of the whole world around us all the time, we might not feel like the right choice anymore, or we might have something new, like this would actually be a more interesting or more valuable thing we can do, and whatever it is, but it's mostly just a casual meeting. We don't really do a lot of the businessy stuff in that meeting. If Nadia is choosing to present her thesis for her program, we might have her do a little presentation, but otherwise it's just gonna be like a pitch-in. It's a potluck environment, so typically people bring something edible. It can be just a bag of chips. It can be a crock pot of your grandma's special stew, whatever it is. It can be whatever you'd like. We typically just kind of email around to get a temperature check of what kind of things we have covered, and we don't really have any what's from before, like bowls, cups, plates, utensils. We don't really have a lot of that in this building. So if you were bringing a stew, for example, you might bring bowls or tell people like, hey, bring a bowl if you want some stew.
I think there is a tree nut allergy and a shellfish allergy.
Yes.
Avoid those things.
And
If anybody else has allergies, don't publicly disclose it. I'm happy to like say there's.
yeah,
Allergy.
if we know people aren't gonna be here for that meeting, we can probably like also share that, but yeah, those are two that, some of the extra stuff. And I think there's also, a member who is vegan, but obviously, you know, that's not a health risk to being in the room with something, so that's more just a thinking through what you might bring. Anyway, so it's pitching. It's from 6 to 8 as usual, but the main thing is for us to talk through. We typically use the dry erase board and write stuff down and come up with ideas and end up kind of voting on what we think would be fun. Any questions on that?
Would it be possible for us to be reminded in some way of last year's conversation beforehand?
For sure.
So that we can see what we've done and what we
Yes.
still want to do.
So I have the annual report slides. I'll make sure to send the ones for last year. And then I can't remember, Rachel, if you took notes or if I took notes, but one of us I know had like a list somewhere.
It should be in like the December meeting minutes.
Okay, then,
Yeah.
I can make that myself.
And I'll look and see if I've written anything particularly legible for it too.
Should
But
we
yeah,
get some kind of list going of what people plan to bring, just so we don't have like 5 people bringing cookies or something and
yeah, what would be a good way to do it? Like, do you wanna just like email each other? I think it's an appropriate thing to email each other about snacks we're bringing to a meeting. I don't think it,
I think
I,
that's
it's
fine.
good, so I think it's my job. So we can do that, or if you want to just like say something right now, we can do that too. Do folks care? Absolutely.
Honestly, we came on the line and.
Great, sounds great. Cool. Anybody else wanna claim their,
I'm gonna bring bean dip again.
really, I mean,
I'll bring a pre-made package of snack, dessert from Kroger.
nice. I love the
Desserts are good.
yeah,
Cookies or brownies or something.
perfect. Okay. Anybody else have an idea of what they wanna bring?
I'm like mac and cheese.
Oh, that's a fun one. Okay, mac and cheese, these are.
I can plan to bring like paper, plastic utensils.
Oh, thank you.
Wait, so peanuts are not tree nuts?
That is true. Peanuts are not tree nuts. Peanuts are like you.
But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you think that's okay?
upside down tree.
think, let's say yes, but how, I will send a note through to the group with the things
Okay.
people are bringing and just say like, double check, does anyone have peanut allergy?
I'm thinking a noodle tofu peanut sesame
fun.
thing.
Nice, that sounds great. Chicken noodle, peanut, tofu.
Sesame thing.
Yeah. Love it.
Like a
Okay.
salad, sort of.
Peanut,
Like a Thai salad.
Yeah, like Thai salad, yeah.
Sesame thing ties up with
Yeah.
it. I'm just gonna leave these words exactly as I wrote them, it's gonna be great. Okay, all right, that sounds great. All right, and I will send this to the group and then folks can say like, okay, cool, I'll supplement with this or that or whatever. Awesome, thanks, y'all. And yeah, like I was saying to Shannon, I can send through the copy of whatever notes I have from last year too, just so people can look at what we have. And typically the annual meeting, the goal is to double check those 3 to 5 year goals. And then objectives, if we call them. Anyway, 3 to 5 years, plan, make sure that also makes sense for us. And then identify what we want to do for 2026 specifically. And then all those working groups that we have, the goal is that all of the working groups that we have active apply to the things that we're doing next year. So we're not just like spinning our wheels on this project over here and don't have a supporting working group or something. That's like trying to tie those two. And so if you're not in a working group, or if you're looking to fill your time with lots of working groups, that will be the time when I really lay on the pressure. You think I lay on the pressure already? I'm gonna get real fishy and we'll make sure that we've got folks involved in things that make sense for them. Great. Any questions about the annual planning meeting? Cool. Okay, well, I will send some follow-up emails for that. In the meantime, we will get to the next item, which is the handbook revision. And I believe, Rachel, you added this because of the fun we had at the ECPC meeting?
Yes.
Great, so we had the CCPC meeting, right? We met with a couple, like the city planner, we met with Rachel, and we were talking through some development variances that are in consideration. And so many of us were excited to go, that we exceeded the number of people that are allowed in a room at the same time, and so we couldn't have all of us stay, which was great, it's a great problem to have, but then we're all kicking ourselves for going, oh, we should have made the quorum higher, because once you hit 5 people, it's an official, like, enough EC members are there, that it's a real EC meeting, when it's supposed to just be a working group meeting.
Yeah, in which case you could still have it, it would just supposed to be recorded and supposed to have an agenda.
You couldn't have it
You
because
couldn't
it
have
wasn't
it?
noticed.
The notice wasn't,
Notice.
if we knew the 5 of us didn't wanna go, we could put out a notice to say, it's a special EC meeting, it's all about this one thing, it's actually a working group title, but that's okay, but the formality of it changes, and so the great news is that we have a whole bunch more commissioners now than we did when we changed those bylaws, because we were all tired of not having quorum. So the quorum for a EC meeting is 5. The quorum for a working group is 2. We currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 commissioners out of 12. We do have someone graduating soon, so it is possible that 12 will turn, or that 11 will turn into 10. Don't know, but it's possible. So the idea is, do we wanna change this number, a minimum of 5, or the subcommittee, minimum of 2? Knowing that we have a subcommittee that has 5 people on it who are interested, 5 or 6 people actually who are interested in being on it.
So subcommittee rule is okay, because it means that it can work with just 2 individuals in a subcommittee. The issue is our main quorum, and the biggest issue with our main quorum originally was that instead of half of the commission members plus 1, it was half of the possible commission members plus 1, so.
Yeah, so do you remember, do we have to have the minimum number articulated, or can it just be? And what I'm saying is the 5 is too low right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, can we just strike that, yeah?
Can we just strike that? Yeah, I think.
So you would like to have 50% plus 1?
Yeah.
Of appointed commissioners.
Of appointed commissioners, which is always gonna be 6.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I mean,
because
unless
if
they're fewer.
Unless there's like 9 commissioners, so that would be. Half
Oh.
plus one, so it'd be 5 commissioners.
Yeah, I, sorry, I was thinking at the maximum, yeah, okay.
You round down or up?
Round up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did talk about that too, like, what is that?
But that would probably be okay, because if we have fewer commissioners total, there's slightly less likelihood that as large a percentage will show up in one subcommittee meeting. I mean, it's still possible,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but I think that's where the two comes in, where it's just like, if we have fewer people, we can't possibly have like 5 people per subcommittee meeting. Okay, so the idea is moving forward to have an environmental commission meeting, it would be 50% of the appointed commissioners, which right now there's 11 of us. So it'd be
6.
5.5, and then the one would round it up to 6. Is that how we do it, or do you round it to 6 and then plus 1?
Just be 6.
I think it would be 6.
That's why we put 5, I think, because we were like, what's this question? Okay. So 6 would be kind of the, at this moment in time. The number that would put us into a full EC.
Okay, I understand your question now, okay, so
Yeah.
if there's 5.5, you can't have half person, I would, I have to ask legal, I think how I would interpret it would be 5.5 would be 5 people present, plus 1 would be 6. I'm not 100% sure on that, that's how I am thinking about it though.
I think you're right.
So is this language all that needs to be changed with the handbook?
Thanks, so.
I think somebody brought up to me, the working groups should, if there should be any type of requirement to be a part of a working group, or if that should just still be optional. So I wanted to give space for that
To
comment.
be an environmental commission member,
Yes,
you're required to be.
Yes, and at least an active member in a small working group.
What do you all think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or I thought that was actually already a requirement. It's not.
It's highly encouraged.
Okay, so strongly encouraged.
Yeah, I think the issue is historically, we don't wanna shove anyone into it the moment they join. So it'd be like, oh, you get a few months to get your footing, and then, yeah, we'd really like you to be in at least one working group.
Yeah. What do?
I think it should be optional.
Mhm.
Just because, well, for the reasons that you're mentioning, but it may also be, and I'm sort of thinking selfishly here, but that you're part of working group or working groups for a time, but then you need to step back a little bit, but you still wanna stay involved in the
Mhm.
commission. So maybe you step back from a working group and then rejoin that one or a different one. I like having the flexibility,
Yeah.
just knowing that, there are seasons of life. It's-
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
if that hasn't been a problem. Has it been a problem?
One thing, we do have an issue, we have had issues in the past where like 1 or 2 or 3 people are really involved. And then 1 or 2 or 3 people aren't in any working groups at all, and so they come to a monthly meeting, but they're not really like. They don't have a lot of context for any one thing in particular, so they aren't necessarily as engaged, and the people who are engaged are like doing a lot of things and really trying to keep momentum, so I think we included it to sort of set the stage for new commissioners, of like, if you're gonna join, we would really like you to be in a working group. But I do think that, to Shannon's point, it's like, there are gonna be times when you're like, I can't, whether I'm in the working group or not, I'm not gonna be attending things for a little while, cause I've got stuff going on, and that's so fine, I'd rather people be enthusiastic about the EC and take breaks where they need it, than be forced and quit. So, what do you think, Anna?
I guess you could have some sort of like, you have to be in a working group for like half of the year or something, X number of months, but then at that point, it's like, we're kind of now nannying it. Like, what does it mean to be in the working group?
Yeah, that's a good
Attend a
point.
certain percentage of meetings, and
Yeah.
it just seems kind of hard to.
I'm conflicted, because if you were to force somebody into a working group, they could still just attend none of those working group meetings.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, but there's a thing that says if you don't participate in working groups, you eventually are out of the working group. And
Okay.
there's something in there that's like a little bit more firm language.
It's like, I think I'm okay with it still technically not being required, as long as it's made clear that it is expected.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the way I read it.
Yeah.
I don't remember reading it, but I do remember thinking that it was required. So it reads strong enough.
The pressure is on.
Did you say it said strongly encouraged?
yeah,
Yeah, strong to very
that's how
strong.
we phrased it.
Okay.
I don't know, I can't remember how it's written.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we tried not to make it a, if you don't, you can't be part of our group kind of thing, but I do think that it was, I mean, for the reasons I said, it's very valuable having commissioners be involved in some working group of some sort, but. You know, if you're a really big water person and there's no one else who's into the water stuff, it may not make sense for us to have a working group, and that may be the thing that you're like, as soon as that comes up, I'm ready for it, but that's my thing, and that's what I really wanna do, so.
Okay, sounds like the working group as is. Were there any other changes while we're modifying the handbook that anybody feels strongly about? Okay, so that's the only change, Carrie, I'll let you official proper, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can go ahead and vote on the changes to the bylaws. We have a
Second,
nice,
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to force you into making a.
it was my choice, Carrie moves to.
Sorry about that.
No.
Okay, Adam Peterberg,
Yes.
Anna Gray,
Yes.
Adam Martinez.
yes,
David Parker,
What are we voting on?
The changes that we talked about with the quorum going to 50% plus one and not 5 minimum.
Yes.
Heidi Brown. Carrie Albright,
And vote yes.
Matt Galdi,
yes.
motion passes.
Great, thanks all. Thanks for the discussion. Speaking of discussions, here we go into the old business, which is the working groups. Great. Okay, so the first one is water quality. Mitchell is not here today, but I attended the water quality working group with him sometime in the last few weeks. Don't know, it's a blur, but we had a few folks from the Bloomington utilities, thank you. Oh, wait, you were there as well. Oh, do you want any update on this one?
No,
There's so many notes, I'm like.
I didn't take notes.
Yeah, I took too many notes, but basically we had a couple of folks from the utilities department, Liz Carter and Evelyn Gordon, who talked through some changes. Basically, there's a bunch of changes that are being made, so what I can say is that some of them were just adjustments to some of the different like administrative details, but in looking through this, it was things like they had regulations around like plastic erosion control being something that's not allowed, but because of the way a new laws come down, they can no longer say you can't do plastic erosion control because it's not in the code, so they basically put it in the planning department's municipal code to say that you can't have that, so things like that, where it's like just sort of tidying up some rules that were in place that hadn't been formalized. Let's see, there is some different permits about, and you might know about this as well, about water quality, if depending on the size of the development that you're working on, so, and if you wanna elaborate on this, it's maybe more fitting for your.
Yeah, I think it's House, or it was House Bill 1037, I think, I forget like how it was codified, but basically, the permit name, I think is CSGP. Construction and stormwater building permit, maybe, something along those lines. So the state now does not allow, municipalities to, permit erosion controls for sites under an acre. And, it's only the item permit, and I think item only regulates sites more than an acre, so I think that under an acre, lot size is not being regulated for erosion control at this time.
That's nice. Other thing, driveway culverts, didn't know this, but previously it was said that property owners had to maintain culverts that went under their driveway. And that, or that previous, well. But it was not, oh, that's what it was not officially in their, in whatever their code was, so they added that where. If you have something that's going under your driveway, you have to be the one to handle it, that the city will install it, but that you have to manage it, so that's something that has been kind of happening, but they had to put it in officially. Let's see, there's their design manual went into effect. They've been doing some revisions to that. It goes to the utility board and they're updating things about like green infrastructure and stuff like that. There's a lot of details about that, which I can send you if that's useful. And then they're also changing their street sweeping, using Route Smart to improve street sweeping routes and frequency. They're looking at long-term frequency, basically decreasing the overall volume. So instead of just like doing it whenever they can get a truck and go out there, trying to be a little bit more intentional about how much they're sweeping, when they're sweeping, and if doing it on a certain cadence reduces the overall collection over time. So it's like just less, a little less work overall, but they're like monitoring it and measuring it in a way that they didn't before, so they can assess like what they need to be doing moving forward and what the routes are. Let's see. And then, okay, and then there are some things that are not, there's a report that we received that is going through utilities board next, and then they're going to go through, I think, kind of like a finalization process and then release it. So that would be something that will come out to the public at another time. And then we were talking about, there's that item grant, that 319 grant that has to do with non-point source water pollution. And so we were talking about different ways that we might be able to do something with them, maybe with the Parks Department, in one of the waterways in Bloomington. It sounds like that the original idea was that it was for the Cascades area, isn't like the proper watershed to actually be applicable, but we were talking about maybe trying to tie in that with Clear Creek, which is where they've been doing a lot of sampling. There's some different levels that they're being required to sort of remediate, and so trying to figure out if there's multiple ways of incorporating some creek cleanup or educational materials or monitoring or something like that that we can do that would be like through an item funded grant. So talking through that a little bit, but trying to figure out where the EC fits on that as far as like helping look into things. So it was very jam-packed. There were a lot of things that were varying natures of interest, and yeah, but overall, they're really excited to continue conversations with us. Utilities is a really relevant department for us, so it's nice that we've got some folks who are excited to talk about what's happening in the waterways, what's happening with like the bacterial levels and things like that, and what our role could be in either helping to communicate about that, engage people about that, or do any kind of like supporting documentation. Ta-ta, that's the water quality through the voice of Kira Abar, who is not a water quality specialist. All right, ECPC is the next one. That was one of those meetings that had a whole bunch of folks at it. Is there anyone who wants to talk through that process?
So ECPC met twice. The first one was where we almost had our quorum issue and Carrie had to leave. We discussed the St. Remy wetland situation a little bit, and also a future housing development near the beeline where a bunch of tree removal is gonna happen, though that one was in the early stages. We just touched on it. We had a staff member there as well. I can't remember who that was.
It's very good.
We decided we had strong enough feelings about the St. Remy spillway project that we wanted to write some sort of letter. And so we planned to meet again a week later, which ended up just being me and Mitchell. And we are bringing a letter to the commission today. Yes.
It's next week. The packet I think was supposed to go out today. St. Remy actually got continued to November because there's still some unresolved issues. So.
Can you remind us, for those of us who haven't been to these meetings, what is the St. Remy?
They have,
Where is it?
I can share more now if you want.
sure.
It's on the southeastern part of town, right on the county city line. They have a couple of ponds within the HOA common area. And one of the ponds has a spillway dam to the south of it. Around the pond, there was a wetland delineation on the parcel. And wetland delineation did not cover the entire parcel, but it showed significant wetlands, emergent wetlands within the construction area. So while the spillway is certainly failing, CB wants it repaired, the HOA wants it repaired. It's impacting a significant, I think it was impacting 0.7 acres amount of wetlands. Mostly because of a construction access road, that will be remain in perpetuity, so then the dam can, be maintenance periodically. And trees are being removed as well, and then I think it's crossing a couple of streams, so riparian buffer areas are being impacted. Did that cover?
Yeah, no, pretty much. My issue with it being continued again, this is one of those things where I wish there were, wish that there was some more flexibility within government, because our recommendation was essentially to seek an alternate route that was shorter and less disruptive and would pretty much require them to ask a property owner if they were okay with an access road coming up along the edge of their property, which could theoretically be asked of them anytime, because they could say yes, and then a new survey could start. They could say no, and we could be forced to go with what the original petitioner has put forward at whatever time this is continued to. So it's one of those things that it is disappointing to me that we would be pushed back for consideration another month, because whenever, should they choose to heed our advice, it will require them to take more time and they will be frustrated. So I wish that it could be put in front of them now, even though the project is being continued, because then the question could be asked.
So I did ask,
Oh,
I
yeah.
did ask the designers directly.
Mhm.
They said that the property in question, that looks, it was an empty lot, that, that was actually their preferred route, negotiations failed,
Okay,
so.
so it has been asked.
And then as far as the other point about the entirety of the ponds,
Mhm.
creating a wetland area. The west part of the pond, after we met, we looked at the plot again, and the west part of the pond is actually not within the HOA's control. It's like the north, east, and south part of the pond, the backward sea. So we are working with them on that to get that, all within an easement and some, wetlands, mesic plantings.
Okay.
So it sounds like part of the letter, like, is kind of already addressed then with the conversation, is everybody just?
Mhm.
I mean, I guess if they didn't have the meeting, did we submit this to their packet, or can we rescind the initial letter and?
You could certainly revise it, or rescind it and revise it, I mean, I submitted it to Eric formally, but since it was continued, I don't anticipate it'll be sent out. Unless, I'm not sure, I don't pay that close attention to packets if something's continued, if plans are submitted and it's listed as continued or not. So I think it can be rescinded, and modified if you guys would like. And Carrie, do you want to leave space for your other comment about whether we wanted to vote on item, like letters like this?
Oh, yeah, thank you for bringing it, so. The way that the ECPC worked this time was that they met. And then put together a draft of what this letter would look like, and then sent it to Rachel, and the question was. Do we want the environmental commission to look at it as a group, read it as a group, say, yes, we think it's okay, and vote on it letter by letter? Do we wanna say, ECPC, thank you for doing this work, we trust that what you're saying is representative of the environmental commission, you may sign it, the environmental commission, or option C. ECPC discusses it, ECPC writes a letter, ECPC signs it as a subcommittee to the environmental commission. Do people have thoughts on
What's the difference between E and C?
the environmental commission as a whole would be signing the letter versus if the subcommittee would be signing it?
I'm fine with either.
I should note sometimes, the Board of Zoning Appeals and AC often meet up the same night, not this month, but at least half the year they meet at the same night. So sometimes, to get a letter submitted and to meet the BZA requirements, there's not really time to have the EC have eyes on that letter prior to it being submitted. So I think Carrie acknowledged that point, but I just wanted to make that super clear that sometimes that can be the hindrance.
So we can have one option is a good faith, like, yes, the EC will sign it, presuming that, the ECPC has done its thorough diligence in writing something that is, aligned with our goals and all of that, or just skip that and say easy peasy, sign, write what you want, sign what you want, we support subcommittee doing what they think is best.
Yeah, I trust what the ECPC is like, I trust them, but at the same time, I think that it's just clearer if it's signed by the committee, by the ECPC instead of the EC, and then we don't have to worry about anyone coming back and saying, oh, you didn't run this by the whole EC.
Because, technically, we didn't run it by the whole ECPC either,
No.
because we can't,
Yeah.
we can't share things.
Oh, we just had another meeting. Yeah, that's a fair point.
So either way, there is some trust involved.
Yeah.
Which, right, my knee-jerk reaction was, oh, it should just be signed by the ECPC, that is the group that's accountable for it, and well, I pretty much wrote this. So it's one of those things where
I wasn't there.
there's still trust involved either way, so I guess I'm fairly comfortable with B or C, it's up to other people.
A question for Rachel, from the city's perspective, does it look any different if it's signed by the whole EC or theoretically, or the ECPC?
Or the author's name as a member of the ECPC.
I can't speak for the Board of Zoning Appeals, my inclination is that they're going to see City of Bloomington Environmental Commission.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I did add the Environmental Commission logo to the top of the formal list.
Letterhead.
So there is that, just kind of a recognition for it.
Now, what do you think about it having the name of the author or authors in the letter and then Environmental Commission Planning Committee versus just the name of the committee as a whole? Because you're on the point for it, that not every one of those species around for it.
Right. Either way, I mean, it's, whether it's as the ECPC or as the Environmental Commission, there is still gonna be a certain amount of trust there, and we do want them to see the words City of Bloomington Environmental Commission, so definitely wouldn't really want names to come first, so.
We could also list the names, I mean, that feels a little extensive, I guess, to list the names of the people on the committee, but. I guess just as, for example, the author of this particular letter or the primary author, knowing that I wasn't in on those meetings and they was there for the letter. Knowing we're gonna be doing this a lot potentially, I mean, maybe not a lot, but
Yeah.
there's potential for it happening more.
I think Mitchell and I were both also planning to try to attend this meeting as long as it didn't run at the exact same time as an EC meeting, so that would be another way for. If it doesn't conflict with the meeting, for authors to be extra involved, but I don't have terribly strong feelings on the name part, it isn't, I wanna see my name on it, it would be if you were David or someone was like, well, I didn't write that, I'd rather just see the names of the people who wrote it on there, so I don't have strong feelings.
Dave, as an ECPC member, do you have any strong opinions before the?
No,
Okay, I think keeping it as it is, that makes sense, because it's, represents a specific part of the EC, but clearly, it doesn't work administratively as well to, have the whole EC exposed to the letter every time. So yeah.
I think as the ECPC is a fine route, because then. Right, there's no question about, oh, did it go before the whole commission? Well, it went before whatever part of the ECPC attended.
Yeah.
We had ECPC quorum.
Yeah, well, and sometimes the EC itself doesn't have every single member voting.
That's true.
So, yeah, that's.
Giving some permission, and when it comes to the letter being rescinded or edited, my knee-jerk reaction is I wouldn't change a thing.
I do have a thought on it too.
Yeah, I mean, I would want the planning commission to read it in its entirety, and then obviously the petitioner can say, we tried that and the negotiation didn't work. That way we still have our 2 cents in there and our rationale. Yeah, I say that not just because I spent a little chunk of time on that first paragraph, but I mean, I want them to see what we're thinking, basically, to say, we looked at that map and we said, I understand that you've tried to be accommodating, given what you have to do. Could you do this because it's so much less damaging and goes through fewer mature trees, crosses no tributaries, goes through less wetland? And if they say, no, we cannot, then they are where they are.
And I don't think the BZA is seeing the full map, I don't see they're seeing, I don't think they're going to see that there's an empty lot nearby, so I think that the studies poses the question for the petitioner to answer at least.
Yeah, it puts it on the record. And again, it gives a why. It's not just us being difficult.
Yeah.
It's saying, man, I see a route that, I know you have to go up a hill and over some private property, but it's so much less disturbance and zero wetland. So just a way superior route, but they would then address that, and that would be that.
And did you have something to add?
So yeah, my initial reaction is I see no real reason to rescind or edit unless there's anything that anyone wants to edit or add.
Anybody have any thoughts about that part?
One more thing, I wasn't there, but I totally approve as a member of that planning committee, I totally approve his letter. Without having up to write it.
Yeah, and I think that having this documentation out there somewhere of like, here's stuff that we're raising and whether or not they're like, we already had the conversation, it's not possible. The fact that this is on our radar, we're saying, here is what we are seeing, here's why it's important. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but that doesn't make it any less important or, possible or whatever, so I like that it's out there. Any other thoughts on this piece of it before we move to the next working group?
Good letter.
Yeah, I will email the ECPC formally to say that was continued to November, especially for Method.
Should have seen me trying to measure on the computer screen.
It's just disappointing.
Put some work into it.
Okay, all right, well then we can go ahead and move to the light pollution subcommittee, anything from you all?
So we have not met, it's kind of my bad, we've been slacking a little bit, but I did reach out to, planning about that question I had in the UDO. The response I got, they said that pretty much only applies to like streetlights on the right of way, public right of way. And that there are other bits in the UDO that apply to the lights on private property that kind of supersede that line. So it sounds like my concern was unwarranted.
So no one can just put a spotlight.
Yeah, so you cannot just put a spotlight and shine it in neighbor's windows, whatever.
Across those plans.
Yeah.
I will say that there are enforcement cases for that, so, our team goes out at like 6 AM when it's dark and has like security and member, so. If you do have a complaint, maybe you're.
I think specifically it was just.
Yeah, just curious, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see the light pollution working group just one night, just being on your report, just going through it, just like this.
yeah, that's about it for me.
Nice, and I know that when David was here, he was mentioning that the changes to the UDO, I think it's Eric that just kind of keeps like a rolling list of like anything we want considered, and then they kind of start to call that list a little bit to discuss what should be on there, so. A note to everybody that, as we're talking through things that are potential additions or edits to the UDO, it sounds like we can send us through planning kind of anytime, and I'll just keep track of them.
We usually do that at the end of the year, so that will be approaching, so if you get it to me in February, it won't be addressed until the end of the year.
Yeah, that's good to know that they collect them, but they don't actually do anything with them till the end, so time is important. Great, okay, thanks for the updates. Biodiversity working group. We really should organize who's gonna say what. Shannon, Matt, do you have any thoughts, Michelle?
Well, so we haven't met as far as I know, because, but there's just one small bit of news, which it seems like the B City has like officially made its way through the whole process, because I don't know if you all have been getting them, but I've been getting notices saying we've paid our dues. We're now a B City.
It's a big one.
I was gonna ask.
So that's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that we had the resolution passed, but can we add to our social media like now and then like maybe it's like every 3 months for the next year, just like a reminder of what this is and an announcement, but like just kind of like keep surfacing it while we figure out what we wanna do about that status or anything like that.
And I was talking to Tangible a week or two ago, and we were talking about maybe doing something, I don't know, an op-ed or something to basically celebrate the fact that both IU and the city have now achieved B City status. So I can follow up with him on that if you all would
Good idea.
like me to. I don't know exactly.
You
what
two
he was
gonna kind
thinking,
of co-write it?
but we, I mean, could, or yeah, whoever, it's, yeah.
Okay.
before we get off of biodiversity, the Bug Fest, did you guys return the outreach materials yet?
No, I saw the tub.
Okay, okay, I just
I
wanted
live
to
on
make
your
sure,
doorstep.
I just wanted to make sure that it was not lost while I was gone, so. Okay.
Yes, and I still have them. Oh, because Norm was talking about maybe doing like some cable and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that is, I guess that is biodiversity, but so we used some of the outreach materials and Matt showed up to the opening of this exhibition. And we got maybe 5 or 6 people to sign up for the habitat connectivity plan, just something, so,
Handed out a few of those flyers.
yeah.
awesome.
And I forced it on some other people. I had my computer there and I was like, you will fill it out, so it's.
Perfect, I love it. So as an addition to some of the, habitat connectivity stuff, one is that Saturday is the neighborhood association special at the market, so I'm gonna go. Actually, I think I'm gonna take some of those flyers with me and like hand them to them to also say, let us know if you want us to come and like talk to your neighborhood gathering, if there's like a meeting that would be a good one, we can do it literally any time of year, it doesn't have to be.
I
this
might
one.
try to show up to that too.
Yeah,
Same
okay.
day as No Kings.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, Saturday at the market, I mean, you know,
Different time, though.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the market, I think, ends up.
Busy day.
Yes, but anyway, but checking in with as many of those groups as possible to say, hi, how can we help make this possible in your neighborhood?
Share our enthusiasm.
Seriously, I think that makes sense, I think most neighborhood associations are interested in engaging, so that could be something we continue a conversation about depending on how they respond.
I wonder, would it make sense for us at some point to partner, like for biodiversity, to partner with the neighborhood? They have those grants for the development of like more.
Oh, yeah, like a little like
biodiversity and-
$500 neighborhood grants.
Maybe.
It's with Amber.
Yeah, you're right, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but I thought about applying for one of my neighborhood, put in some, like rain gardens or things like that for water collection and pollinating, sort of pollinator friendly fence. But it might be interesting if we were to partner with them to say,
That's
yeah, create habitat and here's a way you can apply for some money to do that in your neighborhoods.
That's a really interesting idea, yeah, do you think that it would be? While we're here and able to talk about it openly, not in a separate meeting, thinking about that, okay, so. So does everybody have a passing familiarity with the hand grants that we're talking about? So, yeah, basically, it's like, it's not a ton of money, but it's enough that like, and a couple of blocks would be able to do something interesting, and yeah, I think a lot of times it is intended to be. Sort of neighborhood enriching things.
It's often used for a sign or a bench. or-
Yeah, it's like something nice.
That's the grant I'm thinking of.
Oh.
Because there was one particular, maybe I thought it was like. Maybe I'm confused, but like stormwater thing, well, this is why I was thinking rain gardens, but. maybe-
I think some people have done brain.
There is a stormwater one too. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about like the neighborhood.
Neighborhood improvement grant.
Improvements grant. Yeah, that was what I thought you were referring to.
Yeah, so this one, here's some language. No, wait, oh wait, this is. Let's see.
I've gotten it.
Funding request, oh, so this is funding request between $1,000 and $10,000. Neighborhoods must provide a minimum matching. Neighborhoods provide matching, this is not the grant I was thinking of, that is the neighborhood improvement grant. What I'm thinking of is something else.
The stormwater one's kind of hard too. I mean, there's like a big proposal and the more people you have on it, the better, and
Okay,
you have certain priorities and they don't guarantee you'll get whatever the full amount will cost or anything.
There is a residential stormwater grant. I can pull that up and see if that's what you're talking about.
I'm looking at it.
Sorry, I don't remember which one it was, but I was associating it with stormwater, because that's what I was thinking about.
This is-
That's, yeah.
What I'm talking about is it's just it's. Bundled under small and simple grants. Provide up to $500 annually, available through September 1. Too late. For community building, like funding a neighborhood newsletter, celebrations, training sessions, or invasive species control. Funding to remove plants, replace with native species, things like that. So it's $500 for neighborhood, like one time a year.
That sounds close, but is this the page you were thinking of, Shannon? Okay. So I went to our grant page.
Yeah, I think it's neighborhood improvement. Oh, I guess maybe not the water one.
Maybe it was a sustainable.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna send Rachel, can I send this to you and then you
Yeah.
can send it to the group?
There it is.
Sustainable neighborhood food program.
I think that's what it is.
Here, I just emailed it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, the rain gardens.
Okay.
Yeah, build community garden,
Sustainable neighborhood.
yeah, plant a pollinator garden,
Okay,
yeah,
and that one doesn't have any of the matching stuff. Interesting.
no, it's smaller, but.
Yeah, but those are, but they're,
And there's
they're
only $10,000 total available, but.
overall budget itself.
Mhm.
Okay, so the one I was looking at is 500, this one is up to 1,000. Okay. But they're both good, but I think that's a really, really cool idea, and I think that. When you think about that, like, let's say we're talking to a neighborhood association. Do you think it is us saying, if that's something you wanna apply for, that would be. Basically supporting the habitat connectivity plan concept, that we would. Something like, have ideas for you or provide you, like, what do you think our involvement would be in that? They're not like officially, but just kind of like as you're brainstorming on this, somebody consider.
I hadn't, this was just a random comment, I hadn't thought.
No, no, I know,
this
so,
through.
yeah.
So, I think so, we certainly could talk to them about it and provide ideas, you know, we have, but.
We could encourage them to reference the habitat connectivity plan
In
and
their
their whatever
application.
proposal.
Mhm.
We're helping meet this environmental goal.
But I think we'd wanna reach out to whoever is like evaluating these grant proposals too and say. We'd like to, you know, this is very much in line with some of the things we're encouraging through our habitat connectivity plan and. Basically, you know, we'd like to sort of partner with you to get news about this out there and also to help in any way we can with. Mhm. Yeah, with the projects that emerge.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is really, really good. I was trying to like, what does the logistics look like, but maybe step one is just. Connecting with Hand and saying like, this totally applies to something that's really important to us and is baked into different parts of the city and the, you know, climate plan and things like that. Like, there's a bunch of places this pops up, so how. Is there something that we can do to either help?
This one might be ESD, but you could probably send the same
Oh,
way
yeah.
to both
Okay,
departments.
this is, yeah, this is sustainable neighborhood, yes, yeah.
I mean, I think on the habitat connectivity plan, we just keep encouraging people to make improvements on private property, but it's always worth referencing that grants exist, especially if you're gonna do something in your community or across multiple yards or in an HOA space or whatever it would be. Yes, we're still kind of pushing that every little action counts.
Yeah.
So just reminding people that those grants exist is a good level of involvement.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, great, well, I have one other note about the habitat connectivity plan, was something that came up last week, which I thought was, or last month, which is really interesting, I think Heidi brought it up actually, but it was about. If there's any kind of communication we have with people after they add something to the connectivity plan. And we were talking a little bit about like mailing lists and things like that, and then thinking like, that sounds like a logistical. I don't even know what, maybe a possibility, but labyrinth if nothing else, when it comes to how would we communicate with people? I don't know, Rachel, if that's something that like you can ask, like, are there any ways that if people say, yes, I would like to hear from you in the future? That we could say, great, here you go, if it would be like a newsletter that you would send to people who signed up. Then we would make the, right, like, can we do stuff like that, you know?
Probably, I am scared, I don't have the capacity right now to do stuff like that. I guess like selfishly, I would encourage to do the Facebook post and say, hey, you should follow our Facebook, we're making more comment up or more frequent updates. I can certainly ask about the newsletter and see what that looks like.
Is there any, do you know if there's like any like city communications person that could do that?
Yeah, there's, I don't know about having an EC specific newsletter, Hand has, a newsletter that Angela Van Roy is usually more than happy to include items on. And then, the city does have their outreach communications coordinator, that's very good, But Angela's, newsletter goes out. I wanna say, I don't wanna give a number, it goes out to at least 1,000 people, so she is always more than willing to include stuff on hers.
At Bug Fest, we had some nice brochures that had plant recommendations and deer resistant plants. On the cities, on the Habitat Connectivity Plan website, do we have links to information about, like suggested native plants and
The brochures are in the page.
it's in there?
They're on the
Okay.
AC page, they're just not on the connectivity plan page.
Yeah.
So you'd have to navigate a little.
Yeah,
I will note too, Fiona's been working on, kind of a brain drain task when she needs more creative outlet from the more technical stuff, has been putting together kind of one pagers of the brochure information, and just creating nothing new, updated book. So I think she was planning on presenting that sometime in the spring. She doesn't have all of the information, because the brochures kind of have, the example she gave was like, some of the native plants have like heights, but not all of the native plants have heights on, across all the brochures, so, that is being done, as she has time.
Okay.
But I don't think there's a link on the habitat connectivity map itself, suggesting native plants or linking to those brochures directly. I think that's something that can be added, because I think there is like an information tab. Habitat connectivity map.
there's that, so on the EC's webpage, there's like a subpage that is like, it's labeled natural landscaping. I think it's actually labeled brochures on our homepage, but, but then it's like the list of like links to all of the different brochures we have about deer resistant plants and, native things and things like that, like, natural landscaping, everything. So we could link to this page that just kind of floods you with choices.
Yeah.
You think that would work, Adam, if we put that on the plan, like on the map links?
Well, so at Bug Fest, when people were interested, they would go directly to the page. And so I do think it would be helpful for on the landing page, to have immediate links to plants, the suggested plants. So yeah, I do think it would be, if there's a link to that page, that could be helpful.
Do you think, it sounds like it might be more helpful to have like the actual like link to this thing, like the
Yeah.
brochure that we have?
Yeah, on that, or what's under resources on that page?
Is it?
That's it, okay.
Yeah, so this is.
Oh, the resource is a different tab, yeah.
Yeah, so this is probably where the GIS team is going to want to host that information.
Yeah.
So I can definitely ask that if that's okay with the group.
Just a tab that,
Yeah, but
Would-
it says like native plant
Native-
recommendations or resources
Yeah.
or like, whatever, I left that page, but. Whatever this page is called with the resources.
Oh, it's like
Oops.
natural landscaping.
Yeah, maybe just natural landscaping resources or something,
Yeah.
something phrasing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we have that be like the third thing listed? I think right now there's like the
Yeah.
PDF map and reported GIS issue or whatever.
Good talk for everyone.
yeah,
Cool, yeah, good catch on that whole.
yeah.
And I think this is stuff that we're like continuing to kind of figure out how to do it better now that we've got a map that we're really excited to engage with. It's like, what feels really intuitive? Where are people going now? How do they want? What can we do to improve it?
Okay, I can see Sid Ryan from my.
Any other thoughts on any of the biodiversity working group items?
Are the deer considered part of biodiversity?
Yeah, they sure were.
Does the map tell you like where the deer are concentrated, or are they all over?
Everywhere. Yeah.
There's not a, we don't have too few, we have enough deer, we have more than enough deer.
There's not a lot of them. Just want to see common everywhere.
Yeah.
Is,
Oh, yeah.
It would be kind of amazing if we had like trackers on the deer, all the deer, and we could watch, like, in live time, we could watch how they move around.
Which one specifically?
I noticed some of them had colors.
I once saw 11 at one time.
Oh my gosh, wow. Adam, at one point we talked about you doing a potential presentation on sort of the invasive animals and their impact and all that for the EC. Is that something you still be interested in doing?
Yeah, in Bloomington, we think mainly about invasive animals, insects. And there are invasive animals that reduce biodiversity, including insects within animals. Yeah, do that. I give lectures on invasive species all the time, so
Yeah.
be happy to.
Cool. I think last month we were talking about, just sort of some timing for when we might do things, so it might be like early 2026.
Sure.
Okay, cool. We can lock in a month for
The
that.
wild,
What?
the Call of the Wild.
Yeah.
Another person was telling me about the dolphins. It's a sort of anti-culling manifesto on sort of invasive animals.
There's a Call of the Wild that's about the guy that, there's a different.
Not the Call of the Wild.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Call.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a critique of culls of invasive species. It's interesting.
All right, okay, well then, if folks have any other updates, we can keep moving on. Special projects, we were talking about, putting together some items, just to kind of help with our tabling, like, using some of our budget for some things. Now is not been the time for me to work on that, and if you're interested in design things, like designing what our little presentation thing would look like, or designing what a new tablecloth could look like, feel free to join the special projects where we do things like that, because right now,
I was gonna say, does the city have a standard vendor and would it be very easy to just do a tablecloth?
yeah, it's really expensive, weirdly, like an actual, like nicely made tablecloth is like,
It's interesting.
I mean, like $140, so, yeah, so I think it's because of the way it's printed, like it's printed really nicely, so there's some things that will require input from other people, it's not quite as easy and cheap as I would have hoped, but.
Can I jump in real quick?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I think the EC budget was $1,300 for this year. I think that was requested for next year too, and I think that was approved. 400 of that was used for B City, so we're down to 900. It'll reset in the new year, but you still have $900 to play with this year.
You're saying get the lead out.
Maybe
I
it's
got it.
the tablecloth.
Go for the tablecloth,
Yeah.
okay,
It's $140.
Yeah.
That's like 10 years or something, I mean.
it's true, it's true, it would, presumably it would,
I'm
okay.
not on special projects, but I'm in favor.
Okay, thanks, Matt, I appreciate the support. Okay, great. And last thing on the old business is the Eco Heroes theme discussion. Folks, we have had some really great themes over the years. I sent an email out that there was a huge silence too, so thank you. But I listed a ton of the different themes that we've done over the years, like about pollinators, about trees, about just the plant and biodiversity, all this. And so Adam and Matt and I have thought through some ideas separately and not together, but we were gonna bring our separate ideas here tonight to hear if people have thoughts. Ideally, we would be able to lock in a theme. And then what we can do is start talking about like a tagline and talking about what kind of materials we wanna share with educators or the community as they're putting together, but identifying a theme is gonna be square one into putting all of these things in motion, so it's not an insane rush come March, because that's what it's.
Right, the sooner we do that, the better. That way we can get it in front of educators and stuff before they've planned their whole spring. We
Yeah.
don't wanna fall behind like we did last time.
And sometimes it feels like it's behind all the time, so
It's
yeah.
gonna feel that way no matter what, but let's actually try
That's
to
right.
get ahead of it.
So do either of you or anybody else, if you have ideas for themes that you'd like us to consider, feel free to say something, but Adam or Matt, do either of you have any themes that you'd like to kick off?
I had two that I thought of. The first one was something around killing your lawn. It's a kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
Like getting rid of, your grass monoculture, maybe just letting it grow a little taller, or replacing with native plants and all the benefits that has. And
Cool.
it's kind of like eye-catching, I think, And then I didn't have a nice tagline for this one, but something about like predators, just because that's another thing that people get excited about. That includes, you got like raptors and wolves and stuff, but it's also like bugs, most reptiles.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
okay, cool.
That's all.
Okay, awesome, I love it. Matt, do you have any questions?
I'm just always, every year a broken record, I'm focused on like native plants and the ecosystem services they provide. So I was trying to figure out, I don't have a great working title, but it just sort of ties in with everything from the connectivity plan to MC Iris's calorie pair removal to anything, but I just basically, a few of the things I wrote down, like native plants and Bloomington's wonderful wildlife, or like native plants fueling Bloomington's wonderful wildlife, or supporting, or I don't know, just was kind of spitting out ideas, but it's like native plants are the foundation, even if you're more excited about the, fauna that they support. But it leaves it very, very open to them, painting a butterfly on a flower to a buffalo in a field or whatever, because it's all stems from the wildlife, but it's not a very focused idea at this point.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay. I came with 3 ideas. Some more, some less focused. The first one, I was trying to figure out what we could do around light. I was thinking light, like the sun, the benefits of the sun, the challenges of the sun, whatever, solar energy and or light pollution. And what that looks like. So the eco heroes are an art contest specifically, so it's how people express through written art, drawn art, 3D art, some sort of creation that they've made this theme. So I was thinking about light from a few different directions, and maybe it's all of them, maybe it's only one of them, I don't know. My partner's currently leading children on a bird watching program, so birds came up, and I was like, we've been doing birds before, we've done different like types of wildlife, but I was like, people like birds. Birds something? I don't know.
I like birds.
And then were you saying about the birds? Do
No,
the
I
birds
like it,
too?
I like it, I have all sorts of ideas too, but I love.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
And then the last thing I had, because the idea came up 2 years ago. The area that we're in has like a ton of karst, and it has tons of like geodes and so much limestone history. I was thinking like nature rocks as a theme, and it being about like geology or something about, the role that stone, that earth, that rocks play in Bloomington, kind of in the ecosystems too, because it does in some way, and we've done it. Those are my 3 ideas.
I think those are amazing. I think we should go with one of those. My first thought when you said it, though, was I was like, it's the end of the world as we know it. So I'm like, no, like, the apocalyptic thinking. No, but it's not local though. I mean, it's local, but well, like what emerges from that. But then my second, that was not a real thought. My second thought was, related to that. So when is Eco Heroes? When is that contest?
It happens for Earth Day, and so we typically try to get materials out to teachers. It's the start of the year.
It will be April 18th is the Earth Day event. So we have
So
that.
by then they will have been submitted and we'll
Yeah.
have picked winners and we'll have gathered prizes.
What do you think of?
Well, I don't know how appropriate this would be. I'm just wondering if it'd be worth doing a sort of tie-in with one of the sort of either native plants ideas, or I'm doing this whole big project with a bunch of artists in the spring around the herbarium. The sort of, which is basically about natives and invasives, right? Sort of plant archives, sort of why is it important to think about sort of catalogs or archives of living species. But I wonder, I was just thinking it'd be interesting to try to do some sort of tie-in, but you should also, whatever we do, we should reach out to artists for climate awareness. Who would help us get the word out for this, but I think your ideas are good ideas, so I'll just sort of.
Great. Do other folks have ideas of the themes, either general, like 1-word themes, like I said, birds, I think, like any theme, or something specific that would be like something to consider?
Well, do you have a favorite native plant that you wanna push? Just not by you.
No, I wouldn't, I wouldn't wanna put the artist in that spot. I want them to have the freedom, they could do a big tree, or they could do flowers, or they could do whatever.
Where is my number? It's trees, so you can do trees.
We are a tree city.
That's true.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because you want it to be like somewhat focused, but you don't want everyone to just be like doing the same thing. Some latitude for expression.
I like the accessibility of the birds. I mean, like so many people have gotten into birding over the last couple of years, but it's also like, I and I know we're talking about kids' art, but even so, I fear it's gonna be like create too much just literal art, whereas the focus on light, I actually think could get us some really interesting,
Yeah.
or even karst, sort of a karst topography. Because the karst has a lot to do with how we think about water and wastewater and all sorts of things like that in the area too, so.
And
So I think, I find light, there's just a very evocative, thing to work with. And the adult artist could certainly do a lot with that.
yeah, and I think that's part of it is like what appeals to children, what appeals to a classroom, what appeals to a high schooler, what appeals to a retiree, like there's so many different ways that we can go about this to kind of making sure it's like, is there a little pocket for people of all walks of life to, you know?
I think probably birds, but it's like the lowest common denominator.
It's a cheap shot, I know, birds are pretty. What do people think? General thoughts on it?
Well, there's lots of great ideas. Birds, I also like the native plants since have you all, so what have we done in the past?
Oh, would you like me to read you my
Yes.
list?
Give you some.
Well,
I-
I just wanna say the nature rocks tagline, I think is really good.
Thanks.
Trying to imagine people drawing rocks, or they just draw nature, they're like, what, I totally missed the geology.
Or they make paper mache geodes and then they, write what a geo is, who knows? Kids are weird, adults are weird too.
Fossils.
And fossils, I love that.
Yeah.
All those rhinoids, they could make like sculptures out of it. They could grow.
What have you all seen most participation? What topics?
What was it? With what had the most participation?
Honestly, it was, participation was always high until the pandemic, and it's just been harder since, somewhat regardless of the. But I'm thinking that us getting out ahead of it here might give us a better
Yeah.
chance, we want people to be able to tie things into. Grade school lesson plans or, more time for us to put up flyers if we choose to do that, more time to, harass friends and family.
Here's some themes. Last year it was bugs in bloom, how native insects are important to Bloomington. The year before, it was drops to drains, eco heroes working with the city on stormwater strains, and we paired with the city, a couple of organizations on that. And then a list of others are eco heroes, they're so cute. How I put the I in environment. How do you nurture nature in your neighborhood? Mission, lower emissions. Embracing our aging planet. Let it grow, what trees give us. Fighting fragmentation? Not the question mark, I just ended on a question mark. Protecting our pollinator pals. Doing my share for cleaner air. Celebrating Earth's variety of life, biodiversity. And lakes, rivers, and streams, oh my. Those have been the themes that I could find. So we don't really talk, there's a few things, like the native thing, we don't name natives in any of those. Birds, we don't name birds. We don't name rocks, we don't name sun or light or whatever relates to, so I think, we don't name predators by name, like there's a bunch of opportunities for us to keep fleshing out this list. I will say that I think some of the more broad things, I think the broader things were maybe in the beginning a little bit too. Like the very first one, I think, was the how do I put the I in environment, and it's just like. You get and truly anything, which is great, but it's also really hard to like judge those and say like, this is it, and then it becomes. How much time do I actually think you put into this, or that sort of like, you kind of start to critique what the perceived effort was versus. Does it tie to the theme, because it can be in so many different ways tied to the theme. What do people think?
Do we need to decide today?
I think a general direction will be helpful, and we can wait until the next meeting, but the next meeting is gonna be a wild one, so.
Just one word we had.
Yeah, please do, yeah.
Talking, he was talking about light and the nighttime, trying to get diversified, what are the thing about tonight? What's happening at night?
Oh,
Things are coming out, save the light, enjoy the dark, so what do you enjoy that?
There's also nocturnal animals, there's like what happens to plants at night, ooh, that's a really interesting one.
Look at, is a Native American book about what happens at night, all kinds of stories called Keepers of the Night. And so we talk about constellations and animals, owls,
that's a great thing to put on, like if we were to do this at any point. To put on like a teacher resource list of like, the library has this book, or like you could reference, so anytime you think of things like that, we can always put them with whatever our Eco Heroes theme is gonna be for sure.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna, yes,
say, I really like that.
yeah, it's really beautiful.
If we wanted to go back to the like lawns and natives and stuff like that, we could do something on rewilding. One of the things that I noticed in your list was, a lot of them have this kind of sort of focus on action or sort of ethics. And the thing about birds is that it doesn't really like, what do you think? Like,
Right, yeah, yeah. it's a great one.
but
We're gonna get photographs.
rewilding is a pretty broad, like, you know, sort of rewilding landscapes, Bloomington, whatever. People could interpret that in all sorts of different ways, but you could think about lawns, you could think about native species.
Yeah.
But I do like the night one better, I mean, but it's better than that, I think, so it's,
Right.
yeah, again, I think it's more interesting.
Yeah. That's a really interesting observation. I wonder what the turnout looks like based on, is it an, like, you know, observation type where it's like about, yeah, like birding, or the rocks one, where it's like, it's more about the thing and teaching about the thing versus like, what is my engagement with it? So that's really fascinating.
Eco Heroes suggests some sort of engagement.
Yeah, for sure.
It's-
Yeah.
Like Bloomington's nature at night or something, because I mean, either whether it's like you know, the night flowering plants, or whether it's moths or owls or raccoons or whatever.
Interesting.
She's pointing at me with raccoons.
Did you say raccoon? Someone said raccoon.
I do. It was like,
No.
Yeah, some visit me too.
And the
nature at night, I like that.
What do people think about that? Are there any?
It is very wide open.
Maybe they would have camping pictures and.
Oh.
Or maybe they would have something
Or
about
maybe-
flashlights and looking for bugs and frogs.
And the light pollution thing can also come up of like dark sky, the value of dark sky and. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is, that's,
I mean, I think it sounds like a fun,
Yeah,
the nice theme sounds fun, because it is, you can take it in a number of directions, even if we're gonna. Mostly get bats or something, I don't know, I don't know what we get, I don't know what we get.
Yeah.
But
but it goes in
like,
like so many directions.
right, I like that there's a lot of room to be creative with it,
Uh-huh.
or you can draw the stuff that's obvious.
Okay. Is there any other theme that people would like to really consider? Cause I think I'm hearing a lot about the nighttime thing. Any other themes that people are like, yeah, you feel like we're onto something?
I think a lot of the ideas are good, that we could revisit them for any additional, like for Eco Heroes down the
Seriously.
road.
We're gonna start planning in June for next.
Put those in the piggy bank,
If we're good, right,
put those in the piggy bank for next year.
right, just hold on to it for next time,
Cool.
but I like the late contender here, and I think the night themes.
It's really intriguing.
I love it. How do folks feel about some sort of, yeah, nature at night or something?
Our nature at night or something.
Bloomington, did somebody say Bloomington at night?
Yeah.
Or nature at night?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, either Bloomington's nature at night or our nature at night, something that makes it still feel kind of local.
yeah, something personal, yeah, okay. Are folks okay with if we do that theme, the night theme?
I think it's awesome.
I think
I think it should be fun.
Well, great, Heidi, great idea,
That they, you know, talk about firefighting.
that was great.
Thank
And it kind of touched, I like how it kind of includes like all the different groups,
Yeah,
like very like
lightning
poetic way.
bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
I see people and they're like, oh, you're saying,
Mhm.
what do they need?
Okay, this is great. I'm a big fan. Thank you for suggesting it. Thank you, Matt and Adam both for thinking through things and getting us going, and for everybody for contributing ideas. This was super cool. Oh, Rachel, we didn't hear from you. Late night, are you?
No, that's very cool.
Excellent.
Before we move on to more Peter, was that everything about Eco Heroes that you wanted to touch on?
I believe so. And then maybe we can just set up a meeting sometime in the next couple of weeks and we'll.
I wanted to get just I don't think ever gotten a formal confirmation of who is a part of each group. I know we're missing some people tonight, but who wants to be part of the Eco Heroes group?
I will then.
So we got Adam,
Something like us to get connected to.
Or minimum.
At least, it can't, yeah, it has to be less than these.
We can't have more than six
Oh,
to ten
you know
at
what?
once.
Decided,
You know what?
right?
We can have everybody, we just can't all come together in a single meeting. So you can be on the speakers, you can be like, I would like to be on the part that designs a flyer, I'd like
And
to be the
even-
part that sends, yeah.
Even then, you all could come to the meeting, it's just you have to send out the
Yes,
48 hours
it's like-
notice.
Yeah, so yes, join if you'd like, you are welcome to be part of
Okay,
it.
so I had Adam, Shannon, you raise your hand, you did not raise your hand, Adam. Matt, Dave, you did not raise your hand, Heidi,
I'm
did you?
not sure, guys.
Can always
Yeah.
join any of them later.
I'll pressure you next month.
Okay.
Really, hopefully far.
And then Carrie,
Yeah.
and you did the inclination that any of the missing participants will want to be a part.
Nadia helped last year, but depending on what her plans are, she may or may not. Mitchell, I suspect will not, he'll probably help the judging or something now. And,
I'm not sure about Norway, can I ask?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Great.
So for ECPC, I have Carrie, Matt Caldy, Norm, Adam Martinez, Mitchell, and David. Is that everybody who wants to be part of ECPC? Okay, special projects, Carrie, Matt, Mitchell, is that right? Water quality, Casey, Mitchell,
So you have to
David.
get me in there.
Dave, are you part of the water quality group? Okay, then I have Casey and Mitchell, Carrie, you. want-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been hanging
And Heidi, would you like me to add you for right now?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. That was the emails
Alright, so
about.
last meeting.
Light pollution, Adam, who's the second? Okay,
Oh,
both
no.
Adam, double,
Both
okay,
Adams.
okay.
2/3 of it is Adam.
Wait, Matt, are you on light pollution as well? Okay.
Are you ever together?
I'm not in water.
Oh.
I didn't actually really sign up for special projects, I'm just, I don't know, something about being the vice chair, kind of gets you roped in.
Yeah, sure, you're the treasurer, so.
Yeah,
And then biodiversity, I have Carrie, Nadia, Matt, Adam, Whitaker, Shannon, and David.
I'm officially on.
I have you on,
Okay.
yeah,
I can come
okay.
to meetings about that.
Okay. Did I hit all of the action words?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other comments before I say my document?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. Thank you for confirming, everybody.
Cool, okay, well, is there anything else that people wanted to say about Eco Heroes? That was kind of the goal, was to lock in just a general direction.
it's really great that we essentially have a theme.
Yay, thanks everybody for contributing and nice job, what a fun addition. Okay, so next on the list is the staff update starring Ray Lawson.
The first thing I have is item public notices. Councilmember Piedmont Smith emailed, I think she emailed you and I, Carrie and I, about, does the EC get public notices? And do you guys often comment? So that's weird. Central, it's a little weird. So these public notices are sent from item, if it's sent to office of the mayor. And it seems environmental, office of the mayor secretary does send it to me. If it doesn't seem environmental, I usually don't get them. If it's sent to council's office, I don't usually seem to get them. So, kind of just practicing, I don't always get these public notices, but I wanted to bring this up, mostly because, Councilmember Piedmont Smith, asked if the EC wanted to be interested in this. Is this something you guys would be interested in seeing in the packets? These public notices, are about permits that are going on in Bloomington. I don't know anything about these projects. I would not be able to advocate for or against to give more detail. The public notice is what it is. Since it's a public notice, it's also found on item's website. So I just wanted to ask everyone what their thoughts about this. If there's any strong feelings, and if you guys would write a comment.
And
Sorry.
and just to clarify, these are going through IDEM. So they're not going through like our council, our county council, like they're going to the state level,
Correct.
which is noteworthy.
Indiana Department of Environmental Management.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think DNR and Department of Natural Resources, I'm assuming since they have a construction and floodway permit as well as dam permits, and probably some others. I think they probably have some sort of public notice. I do not receive those. NDOT has public notices. I also don't receive those. So I think you would only be looking at a very small fraction, if, you know, the group is interested in receiving these, you'd only be receiving a small fraction from me anyway.
And one other thought is that the Monroe County, formerly Environmental Commission, now the Resiliency Commission. They're the county level, so because these, like the central one, I'm pretty sure it's outside of the city. That's the one that Isabella Center, and that is outside the city limits, so technically it's outside of like Bloomington, Environmental Commission. Theoretically, the county commission of this nature would be relevant to respond to that, I think, above us. So I feel like that's where I think it's really useful for us to know. I think if these things impact the environment because they've been approved, that's something that eventually may trickle down in some way because of like a water issue or a soil issue or something. But figuring out, do we wanna find a way to be looped in on these permits as they're going through would be useful to.
I do think the item allows interested parties to sign up for a list, so if an individual is interested, we can also do that.
Do you have any strong opinions on how the EC handles this?
It's really outside of our jurisdiction, like. That, I mean, what would we do, sort of? Do a comment, issue a report,
Yeah.
but to whom, because it's not the city.
And I should note too, like I brought up an example here, some of them are quite detailed, some of them are this, there's not a lot of information about it.
I'm okay with not receiving them. I mean, you made it sound like they only very occasionally get to you if
I think we
they.
get 6 a year, if that, and of those 6, 3 of them are about the same project, and most of the time it's Catalan so far, so.
Right,
Yeah, I just don't know what we would really do with the information.
kind of the same way we were talking with ECPC, if there's something that's like really big and obvious that we wanna weigh in on, you were passing along. to
Sure,
us.
like if there's something, a new factory or something.
We could treat this similarly in the very rare occasion that it's something you think we'd like to know about. Sure. But I mean, looking at the examples there, it's hard to know without like a historic list, but. Yeah, I feel like I've been missing out.
Yeah, it does feel like it's a lot of like processing on our side to figure out if it's even relevant, and then.
Are you okay with that, Claire, as well? Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Okay. Option, let's go back to people. Okay, the second thing I have is scheduling December meeting. I have heard through the rumor mill that the night you have it scheduled for might be IU's graduation or some college's graduation tonight. So I guess I think we wanted to check out who, are we going to meet for December? The week after is the holiday, a week directly before, none of the rooms are available, so that can fit the EC. So we would have to put it pretty close to either the November meeting. I haven't checked early December for that Thursday night, or we could move to another day of the week.
So we can't have it on the 18th, which is when it was.
We could have it on the 18th, I think that's how it's currently scheduled,
But is there an IU event, a large IU event that would be?
I think Mitchell maybe said something about it, I don't know, if that's true, I didn't check the schedule.
Okay. Cause it might be like one specific school or something like that.
Should we see first if we would need quorum? I mean, we only have some of us here, but.
A quick Google search says winter commencement is the 19th, which is the next day.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
I don't plan on being affected by that commencement. I anticipate that date working fine for me.
Yeah, me too.
You're good with it?
Yeah.
Cool. Same,
So, maintain some rate.
yep.
Okay,
So again, we're decided on the 18th.
yeah.
And so that would be something we can follow up and just say, hey, if you are not going to be on the eighteenth, please let us know, because. Although it's fun to cancel meetings at the last second, it's more fun to know in advance what we're doing. Okay.
And that is the staff update.
Thank you for the updates, Rachel. Okay, so we're running nicely, close to the end of our meeting, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to the reports section and just know that we've got about 20 minutes to get through the last of our agenda, so. First, we have tree commission, or ERAF or Friends of Lake Monroe. Dave, any updates?
Well, September was one of those months when Monday comes before Thursday. And so I've already told you about the September meeting.
All right.
October is one of those months when Thursday comes before Monday, in terms of there's a Thursday that comes up before a Monday. And so the tree commission is meeting next week, and so I can't tell you what they've done yet. So that's tree commission. ERAC met in October. On October 6th, 8th, I mean. Let's see. There was something about vegetation management, oh yeah, if we has dealt with vegetation management. Their ecologic and KCI contracts. And they mentioned that something's also been done with vegetation management in Switchyard, in Griffey, in Crestmont, and Lower Cascades. And then we've talked about urban forestry. Calorie bear is now under 1,000 in the county. 300 have been removed. And there's the 15-year plan to remove them is on track. Tree of Heaven is being removed. And there's no spotted lanternfly here. Although there is some in the state. Urban forestry planted 142 trees in the spring. There are 20 trees that are going in around Kirkwood and the square. 1,215 trees have been planted this year in the city. And there are 24,000 inventory trees in the city. Next, they talked about education. Nature days are in full swing when students are taken from classes to various places in the city. Leonard Springs and Griffey in particular. In Bug Fest this year, there were 1,400 participants. And they tagged 6 monarchs. Griffey deer management. November 14th. And November 21st to 24th. Will be closed under the White Buffalo contract where White Buffalo works with hunting volunteers who come in to kill the excess deer in Griffey. Next thing on the agenda was projects. Building Trades Park. Phase 1 is complete. I didn't catch all the details about this. The Griffey parking lot is to be paved. Rail to trail. Is coming in at the Rogers Family Park. On the power line trail. We'll go from Switchyard to the RCA
Wait, that's big news.
Yeah, what's it called?
So the Reelster Trails is kind of, they're, what are they doing to that?
The which,
The Reelster Trails is coming in at Rogers Family Park?
They're connecting
Yeah.
parks with power line cut out.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's great.
But
Good, okay.
yeah, I guess I didn't get the details on that one. Okay, so that's you,
Are
right?
they gonna have any, like,
And
paved
actually, I'm gonna take a quick
paths or, like,
second.
gravel
Was,
paths?
oh,
I don't think it's gonna be paved.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if you have anything you wanna share with you from ERAC?
I was not at the last
Okay,
meeting. But yeah, so there, I think that project's almost done. Connecting Switchyard Park to whatever the next park is. Yes,
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
But then the Rogers, the Reelster Trails for the Rogers Family Park.
they're gonna continue, okay, I don't remember
That's
the details, but they're
interesting.
connecting parks with the power line cut from Switchyard Park.
and I'm not sure what that was about. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love those trails.
That'd be good,
It's
'cause
like,
there's not really a great way to get there on a bike right now,
to get to,
from like Switchyard to Rogers Family Park. When you can, you just
Yeah,
gotta go
just
like
get that
really
down
up.
section.
Cause right next to Rogers Family Park, there's like a staircase that you have to go up
Yeah.
to get to Winslow Road.
Yeah, it's like if you're on, with the Morse Pike at that point.
oh,
Just
Rogers
that
is the
one.
goat
Yeah.
farm.
The goat.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just like, what is Rogers Family Park? Okay, that's,
Goat farm, and then you can go up to the old car park.
Mhm.
yeah, there's all
Yeah.
that whole trail system
Yeah.
there, but they're connecting that to the Reelster Trails. That's amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, cause right now it's like you have to go through that neighborhood, I forget the name of the neighborhood. You
Yeah.
have to- Like it
Just
does,
south of the park, yeah.
yeah,
I must have misunderstood something.
no,
It happens.
yeah. No, I was just looking, and the power line trail is like on the city website and it lists a bunch of different things, so that might be helpful too, but. Yeah, okay, thank you for that update on ERAC, and then did you have a Friends of Lake Monroe update, anything you want to share on that real quick?
Just one thing, their science committee, which I go to support the environmental commission, met last night. They're talking about going to some statewide meeting. The Indiana Clean Lakes Volunteer Group and getting involved with some lab there. And they're discussing how to work with this Indiana Clean Lakes Volunteer. With respect to Lake Monroe,
Nice.
there's nothing now on microplastics in Lake Monroe that anybody's worked on. The questions of whether they should do something. This science committee should work on volunteer programs. There's a question on how to use GIS for Lake Monroe, and there's a program called Story Map that they're making use of. And they might have a cruise on the lake to train volunteers. And that cruise would have 10 to 30 people that would go around to various places and even show them how to measure different things. So that was the science committee last night.
Gotcha, thanks for sharing that, that comment about the, there's no study on the microplastics in the lake thus far.
Mm.
I feel like that is a very topical conversation, I'm guessing a lot of people who would love to know what that state is, so yeah, I'll be eager to hear if they.
Right.
Put some in place. Yeah, great, okay, we have just a few minutes left for the BCOS update or MC Iris update or Clean Community Program.
Because I can be real quick, they approved the Sustainable Energy Utility Capstone project as Alex presented to us. They also shouted out that it was their commission's 20th birthday. It's 20 years ago this month. And they approved a resolution, well, they advanced a resolution that they're gonna officially vote on next meeting to add resilience to the name. Like, I'm not sure exactly where, like, what the new acronym would be. Like, I don't know if there's gonna be an and, I don't know the order, they haven't finalized any of that, because they have advanced that they're gonna add resilience. Or to vote on whether they're adding resilience to the name next month, and it sounds like it has some support. So that's my big ghost update.
Fun,
What,
love it.
remind me, what's Alex's last name?
York, Jorck.
That was.
Yeah, so, thank you.
G-O-R-C-K.
Nice, okay, so be force. Excellent. Okay, any update from MC Iris?
I did not attend their meeting yesterday, but I did receive the note, so, they are changing their reduced invasive species challenge for next year. They're focusing only on tree petting, color repaired Asian bush honeysuckle, and instead of giving somebody a new tree or shrub, when that was replaced, I think they're going to be giving applicants $30 gift certificates instead. So there's some flexibility. It looks like they talked about some weed wrangles. The native plant sale will be September 12th. And then the MC Iris annual meeting is, this Friday, October 17th, 5 to 7. To somebody's house, so if you're interested in going, I will give you that information.
Nice, okay, thank you.
And then for the Think Community program, no update.
Perfect, great. So this is where we go around and say any announcements that we have, because we're short on time, I'd say if they're EC specific. One example is November 21st, it's a Friday, from 5 to 7:30, there's the open house at the Waldron for boards and city boards and commissions. It's the city's chance to kind of recognize and honor the fact that people are putting their time and energy into these things. There's snacks, there's a little talk, I can't remember if there's some sort of like artistic piece of it, but I think last year there was like it's like a first Friday, well, there was art like a first Friday, last time. But it's November 21, you're invited, people from the EC will be going.
Probably, yeah. A couple times.
It's not EC related, but I can be quick. Okay, so I have a couple of things, a couple of exhibitions that are up that might be of interest to people in here. One is called Forest. And it's 90 years of the Hoosier National Forest, but it's by all these different artists. It's at the Waldron up through the end of this month. Another is called No Innocent Landscape. It's at the Process Gallery and it's on ecological disturbance and destruction. But the main thing I wanted to announce is that Terry Tempest Williams is going, do you all know who Terry Tempest Williams is? You should. She's one of the great modern nature conservation writers from Utah. But she's giving a big talk at the Buskirk Chumley November 6th, which is a Thursday evening. It's free but ticketed, and then the next day she's having a conversation, also free but ticketed, but yeah, I can give you information if you want, but she's amazing. You should read her work and go and hear her speak.
If you send me information, I will put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Norm also had an update. He sent me, Norm Crampton is inquiring about getting in place at both the March and April farmers markets to hand out the flyer about reducing lawn cutting routines to reduce the production of greenhouse gases. You've seen a draft of the flyer, it may be possible to circulate it to the Bloomington residents with their water bills for 2026 and on.
Thank you for sharing, all right, we can talk more about that as, yeah, we keep moving through the season.
Do we want to decide on an EC theme exactly, or are we comfortable knowing roughly what it's gonna be? It's just because we aren't gonna see each other again for a month.
The Eco Heroes,
Or Eco Heroes, sorry, yeah.
are people okay with the Eco Heroes committee coming up with it, or would you, the group like to decide? Like, maybe not the theme, but.
I know,
the
we
specific-
decided. We
Right,
decide
or
on
like the
yeah.
exact tagline.
Oh, okay.
As
That's fine.
The committee can do that.
It's such our process. Okay, any other pressing announcements that folks would like to share? Okay, I'm gonna send out an email with the comments we made about potluck kitchen items and a reminder about the November meeting. There's a bunch of other things we can follow up on. But if that's all we've got, we have 4.5 minutes just to.
Motion we adjourn.
Second.